thanks for staying with us. We're now looking at the business climate of Nigeria. Nigeria's business confidence rose to a 4-month high in March, with the Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) increasing to 54.3 from 53.7 in February. A PMI above 50.0 indicates growth in business activity, signaling a positive trend for the country's economy. This uptick reflects a significant improvement in business conditions, supported by a sharp increase in new orders, the fastest in 14 months. We have a guest this morning that is joining us to help us understand this, and his name is Femi Boboye. He has joined us here to talk about this. Femi Boboye, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Help us understand what this really means, that the business confidence has hit 4-month high in March and all that. What does it mean to us and our economy?
Thank you very much. I think it's a couple of several things, but I think it starts from the policy put in place by regulatory bodies like CBN, the role they've been playing. And then if you recall, during the presentation of this year's budget by this current administration, one of the things that they are trying to fight against is the issue of inflation. Last year we had it rough. The inflation was really high. At some point, it was hovering around 33-34%. Which was really high. And from the budget that was presented by the current president, they are targeting a 15% inflation rate. But one of the things they've done is to probably do what we call a rebase of the parameters used to calculate our inflation, which has also helped us in bringing inflation down. I think according to the data published by NBS in the month of February, our inflation was around 23.18% now. So if you look at that's almost 10 points lower than what it was sometimes around November, things like that. So basically, you can see that it's just it's a build-up. So when you have inflation coming down, these are key parameters for investors. Whenever inflation is stable and not high, investors feel confident and comfortable to put money in there. So majorly, you cannot but trace this back to some of the policies currently implemented by the government. I think that is what we are seeing in investors coming back to Nigeria to invest more. I think it's a major pointer, but there are other factors anyway, but it's one of the strongest indicators for that.
I don't know, you just mentioned government policies and the fact that investors are coming back to Nigeria. What statistics what data are you using to confidently say that investors are returning to Nigeria? And what specific policies do you think were put in place that made this possible?
So it's a couple of, like I said, it's not just there are quite a lot of things, that are responsible for you to curb your inflation, your monetary policy, your fiscal policy. They all play significant role in all of these things. And what we have seen, like I said earlier, was to ensure that, for example, part of the thing that has, if you also observe that in the forex market, except for last week when there was an upward drive of dollar against naira, what you see is that there was a steady decline in the price of if you're exchanging naira for dollar, right, in the forex market. We observe that all of these things talking about it's a reflection of the policy. Number one, we talked about the ability to produce and locally refined fuel, which is responsible for the largest forest demand in this country historically. That's one way or the other. The naira per dollar code policy also played a significant role. There are quite a lot of, and you don't forget that a lot of other countries are now coming to Nigeria to buy these products. In one way or the other, it's also we have more inflow coming into the country, thereby giving us some level of stability. That's one point. There's a lot of investment into the enterprise development space. Sweden is doing a lot. Several state governments are also investing into micro businesses, and therefore the fact that the cost of importation was really high due to forex in the last 6 months. So many people are now buying locally sourced raw materials or materials for whatever they want to do. So all of these things, like I say, it's a combination of several things, right? It was, but majorly it's orchestrated by some of the policies that we've seen in terms of some of the policies implemented by CBN and the Federal Ministry of Finance to ensure that there's some level of stability within our market space. Yeah, that's
the concern is about stability, whether these things will last, whether they will stay the way they are, or even improve better. One of the major policies that you mentioned was the Naira for crude, but that policy seems to be wobbly. As we speak right now, we don't know the stance, whether that policy is still going to continue or not. They're talking about going back to the talks to see whether the Naira for crude policy can continue or not. It sounds wobbly to me, as if it's something that cannot guarantee stability in that sector.
So Naira for crude is literally between NNPC and organizations like Dangote and the likes that are other refiners. I'm sure that we are aware that Dangote is not the only refining organization in Nigeria presently operational. There are other ones, maybe they are not at that scale, they can be smaller, but I know there are about more than 4 or 5 other refineries that are currently functioning in Nigeria outside of the refineries of government. So what we see is, I know what the government is also trying to do, you have to look at your trade balance and ensure that you have enough dollars to come into your economy, because the gold standard for measuring economic performance globally is the dollar. So majorly, so you need more of it at some point. But basically, it's just a function of a couple of things. But basically, I think that it can work. This morning, we all woke up to the news of the change at the level of NNPC right now. So fingers crossed, we don't know what to expect from the new guys that are just coming up on board, but we are looking at their antecedent and what they've done. You could see that these are people that understand that the critical role that the NFPC will play in stabilizing the economy of the country, because it's very, very critical at this point when our economy is not fully diversified, that certain strategic decisions are made with within the NFPC to ensure that there's a general stability across the value chain that depends on petroleum products and services, as it were, in this country. So basically, I think I do not see, because it is in the best interest of everybody to see that this continue to find the middle ground to allow these things to work well. Because I also understand if you look at the complexity surrounding this issue of crude oil generally, it's because a lot of actors are playing different parts of it. So everybody wants their interest to be protected. And they decide that's right as well. So I think they can find a common ground. I hope so. And because it is in the best interest of everybody in this country, that they're able to find a sustainable situation, because it's a thing of pride to hear that Saudi Arabia, US, and all of these countries coming to buy petroleum products in Nigeria. Many of us have been young, and now we are getting old. And to hear that for the first time we have a situation whereby petroleum products are locally made, manufactured, and they were able to refine rather, and we're able to, produce what we use in that aspect, at least to level to any degree. So it's something that we all should be proud of. And I think if we sustain this, the sun will shine again on our economy.
Okay, so one of the notable factors behind the improvement is said to be the easing of inflationary pressures with input cost inflation at its lowest pace since May 2023. What do you think slowed down this inflation rate and eased the pressure that gave us these statistics now?
So generally, like I said, earlier on, when the inflation was at its peak, right, imports become very expensive for everybody that's running one business or the other. So people now, I think one of the things we did a survey from our organization towards the end of December, asking questions around all of these things. One of the things that we found out from our survey was that many people are now turning to alternative, cheaper sources of getting raw materials that they need as inputs for their businesses. So basically, that's as well. Sometimes, let's say, necessity give us innovation to begin to look inward, begin to make more responsible decisions in the ways and the manners inputs ourselves. So basically, I think that is that. That kind of one of the things we also observe is that many people who are manufacturing products, they are producing products that are like raw materials for others. One of the things they've also observed that they observe surge in demand for their products from our survey. And that is because people are now looking for a cheaper alternative because of the high cost of imported alternatives. Thereby, and that has also, over time, accumulated an increase for everybody to ensure that the entire system becomes better. Even for technical expertise, more people are now, looking around and getting, trained experts from foreign countries. We are looking at people who have, all of these things contributed to, doing some of the things that we consider our input costs, your running costs, your overhead costs, downward. Of course, the majority of our papers are still here because largely some of them require advanced technology to deliver. We see around that, but I think we are making some significant progress in that space.
Ask if looking for the internal demand, the local demand is necessarily a good thing. Because like you said, some of them, because of the cost of importing a lot of the things that they might need, they're looking for cheaper alternatives. Does cheaper alternative necessarily translate to something good? Because, it's like when you're going hunting and you need a gun, then you cannot get a gun, you go and look for a catapult. Can you use that to kill a lion or a buffalo? I'm just saying.
At least we read about David killing Goliath with his stone. So I think one of the things and that is where innovation comes in. Yeah. And that is the beauty of innovation. One of the things we've observed, like I said, necessity sometimes begs innovation. And what we are seeing is everybody coming out with more innovative means of providing solutions to some of the problems that we have. And oftentimes, innovations make things cheaper and faster. And that is the hallmark of innovation. The hallmark of innovation is that you are providing a solution that is cheaper and faster and even more convenient for people. So basically, that is just the way it is. In the time past, if you want to have a camera, you have to buy it separately. But now, if you get a good phone, you already have the camera. So you already have, a lot of those things are there now because of innovation. You can have multiple stuff and just one single device. So I think also the advent of advancing technology, AI, and all of those things is helping organizations to reduce their overhead cost. Because the things you probably access to people, you could majorly use AI to play some role in that. So all of these things generally are factors that can help people bring down overhead costs. It doesn't usually mean that you are lowering the quality most of the time. Sometimes it does, but it's not all the time. Yes, because the most important thing is if you are able to find an innovative solution that best solve your problem, then you are able to maybe do whatever you have.
Okay, I'm just dying to ask you this question, even though our time is up almost, so we have like 1 minute more. Um, as an economist, you know that a lot of things, if not everything in Nigeria is tied to oil. And one of the drivers of this is NNPCL, that when you're talking oil in Nigeria, you talk NNPCL before any other one, because even though they are not the regulators, they set the pace in what happens in that sector. Now, there's been a change of baton from Mele Kyari to Bashir Ojulari. So there's a new CEO for NNPCL right now. If you were to set an agenda for him, what would it be? As we wrap up.
Because of the agenda, we have a problem at hand with the finance to ensure that we sustain all of them, to ensure that we continue to refine. There bring some level of sanity into. We still have a little bit of fluctuation, and we have stability. It is projected by things that was studied. There was a study that just showed that the price of petroleum products is expected to continue to go down, which is good for us as a country, for the people. Is to ensure that that is done, and to ensure that all the other refineries continue to operate, be not owned by any PC, continue to operate and operate efficiently, because it's very essential that they continue to run, so that they can serve as a stabilizer. You can't afford to leave everything in the hand of the private sectors totally, like as it were, right? So that they can also continue to, when Dangote raised his price some days ago, NNPC is still selling at 860. We need that stability, we need that option, that alternative, and to continue to run in a more transparent way, so that and they will try to improve their capacity to ensure that, because the capacity of the country to meet up with revenue generation target, it lies solely mostly, I wouldn't say solely, mostly within the confined NPCL. So I think it is a huge responsibility on them to ensure that we do not fail the country, ensuring that the target set for them in terms of crude generation, crude production, and all of those things, and all the other things associated with their responsibility, they're able to do that, because it is when they are able to do that that we meet our revenue target, and that can also advance us, enabling us to do what we need to do in terms of our development plan as a nation. I think these are all others, but the person looking at the CV and the experience and the expertise of the new board set up and the government board, the non-executive board, you can see that there's serious competence in that. They have the competence, the expertise, and the experience to actually deliver on the mandates given to them. I have no doubt, having had some level of experience also in the field myself, I can tell you that these people have the requisite knowledge to actually chart any way for assassination.
Thank you very much, Femi, for coming on the show this morning and sharing your thoughts. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Okay, that was Femi Boboye, an economist, talking to us about the economy and what factors led to the confidence in Nigeria business that in the past months. So we are going to just draw the curtain today on the program at this point, and we'd like to thank you for a wonderful time with us this morning. We hope that you will rejoin us tomorrow for another edition of the program. Until then, on behalf of the family, my name is Nyamgul Agaji, thanking you for being a part of the show. Bye for now.